I want a sandwich. Now. Oh, sandwich wench. Yo, wench. Sandwich. Now. I'm going to need a sandwich. A sandwich. I'm going to need a sandwich. A sandwich. I'm going to need a sandwich. A sandwich. A sandwich. A sandwich. I'm going to need a sandwich. A sandwich. I'm going to need a sandwich. A sandwich. A sandwich. Oh, sandwich wench. I want a sandwich. Sandwich. Hello everyone, welcome to another political something stream here on the Moistski Live channel. Joining me to discuss things, if I remember to move here, there I did it, fantastic, is my absolutely scrumdiddlyumptious co-host. Apparently I am not receiving enough smooth streaming bits and all that buffering constant nonsense. Fantastic. Is TrupsLP. Say hello, TrupsLP.
Hello, TrupsLP.
How is Trups today?
I'm so happy it's Friday.
So am I.
Honestly, I was done with the week like Monday.
I know a lot of people who felt the same. Myself included, to be honest.
Yeah.
I'm glad it's the weekend, but I'm kind of like,
at
some point I'm going to have a little conversation with people that are starting to annoy me. And I don't want to. It's effort, because I don't want to. I know how they're going to react, and I have to tell them they're idiots.
This does not surprise me. This is a common way that you feel about things. So
you'd think they know by now, but apparently patronizing, snarky responses is their way forward. And I'm like, well, you're gonna get. I'm gonna clap back, and you're not gonna like it. It's like
fun story about that in particular. I have a bad habit of being snarky and sarcastic. I know, shocking. But I noticed that I may piss people off because I do that.
Well, I learned long ago to not do that, because I didn't want to alienate any more people. That's how because I don't have enough people in my life to be able to just do that, and loneliness has been a big factor in my. I don't have people around me like that, that I can just I can have at least someone there to at least talk to all the time. I don't have that. So with me, it's much simpler. They know they're doing it because all I'm doing is asking a nice, quiet, simple question, and I'm getting a patronizing response. I'm just like, I'm going to have to clap at some point, and when I do, you're probably going to run because you're a coward, and you know you are. If you're listening, you know who you are. You're a coward. Just thought I'd put it out there.
Anyway,
what have you been up to?
What have you been up to? Oh, well, all right. I'll go first.
Age before beauty. Go on.
Fair enough.
You're the older one, apparently.
You go. I was gonna say, wait, wouldn't that make you go first? All right, whatever.
Well, you went first, so apparently you're the older one.
All right, cool. Yeah, 80s were awesome, guys. I totally remember those.
I don't. I was born in them, and I don't know shit.
Fair. No, I really haven't done a whole hell of a lot. I of course have been playing Overwatch 2 now that's been.
Wait, you actually managed to get on that?
Oh yeah, plenty.
Loads of people have been having issues getting onto that because they had queues to get in the game.
Yeah, but so what I do, right, is I get home, turn on my computer.
Yeah.
I start the queue, and then I go do something else. And by the time everybody is online, look, I'm connected. It's like people forgot what it was like to buffer a video in advance. Obviously, you probably remember this, right? When you would, let's say you went on a totally legitimate streaming service for a movie that you wanted to watch that evening, right?
Mega Upload?
And what?
Mega Upload?
I was talking more like Pirate Bay, but yeah.
I've heard of Pirate Bay, I've never used it.
Okay. well, if you were gonna like stream a movie, right? On shitty network connections, you would have to do that ahead of time. Or like what I had to do was I loaded up a whole bunch of YouTube videos, and back then they actually buffered
So
because you opened the thing.
just because obviously I'm the older one here, this wasn't a thing when I was younger. Okay, the internet was barely a thing. But no, at university I do remember watching things off other sites. I think Napster was one as well, wasn't it? For Metallica, got it taken down. I never used Napster, but I remember the memes, early day memes, good stuff.
Right.
So I'm very glad you've been able to do something like that. I haven't really been that excited. I had a friend come down on. My nephew was supposed to have surgery on Tuesday to have his tonsils out and his adenoids removed, but they cancelled when he arrived at the hospital, citing needing a report, needing some kind of sleep report or analysis or something before he had that. And I was like, "You should."
Oh, I love doctors.
You should let me do. Well, it gets better because he had to go back today for something else, and they wouldn't send an ambulance, even though it was an emergency, and they couldn't get an appointment for hours. And I'm sat here like, you need to stop with this shit and finally tag me the fuck in, because I'm getting sick. Because I'm the right person. I will be, and I will walk in there and I'll be the biggest cunt on the planet. They're basically
clip this, right?
Go on.
And give it to everybody who's like, we need government mandated healthcare, or people from the UK who are like, haha, the US doesn't have an NHS.
Yeah, honestly,
that story that you just said just right in front of them.
The problem is the current version of the NHS is you can't get appointments with doctors. You can barely be seen at the best of times. The waiting times are through the roof. The kid was having a seizure. He gets seen. Simple as that. I don't care if someone's got a broken leg.
You have to be dying, essentially.
A broken leg can bloody well wait. They're not going anywhere. It's not like they're going to walk very far. But yeah, so he's had a rotten week. But my friend Alma, thank you for the $2 donation. I really appreciate that. Or Alma's editor, I believe. I don't know which. But yeah, so I had a friend come down because he was going to help with my nieces going to school, and then obviously he didn't need to do that. So got to hang out for one evening at least, I guess. You know, that was all right. But I've mostly just been doing video work, gym, and work, because it's just been a meh week, you know? Nothing really going on. I'm just sort of planning. I had my dad bring over he brought over a solar panel for me, which is lovely. I just don't know, it's been very isolated and not doing too much beyond that. It's kind of sucked.
Yeah, it kind of seems like a theme, actually, right now. A lot of people have been getting that sentiment, you know.
Bit lonely, you know? It's a strange thing to say, but it feels lonely because I'm watching everyone around me and I don't want to talk to them because they annoy me too much. So it's just me. And if I tell them what annoys me, it will cause more problems. So I have to bury my annoyance.
Yes.
The thing is,
luckily not with me.
Well, yes. Well, unfortunately, there's an ocean between us. Although I just tell you all these things and you can just say it on my behalf.
Yes, true.
But I have to, unfortunately, prevent a family fracture. So I have to not.
Well, bless you for your patience.
It's not patience. I don't have anywhere to. I don't have anywhere to live if I said it. So I have to wait. I have to wait and see. All right. Anyway, what's been going on in your country since I forgot to look for anything this week in my neck of the woods, and your news is far more interesting.
Okay, well, where would you like to start? I guess we could start with the most recent and the simplest thing to talk about.
Well, Biden's tweet.
Yeah.
All right. Do you want me to read the tweet so I've at least contributed towards this?
Please, absolutely.
Okay, so Twitter thread for those who are watching. I'm going to read it from start to finish. I might include Sticks, Hex, and Hammer's reply as well because I have that. So
if you would like.
Via the POTUS Twitter account, as I've said before, no one should be in jail just for using or possessing marijuana. Today I'm taking steps to end our failed approach. Allow me to lay them out. First, I'm pardoning all prior federal offenses of simple marijuana possession. I'm stopping that now. There are thousands of people who were previously convicted of simple possession who may be denied employment, housing, or educational opportunities as a result. My pardon will remove this burden. Second, I'm calling on governors to pardon simple state marijuana possession, offences. Just as no one should be in a federal prison solely for possessing marijuana, no one should be in a local jail or state prison for that reason either. By the way, calling on governors means fuck all. Third, we classify marijuana at the same level as heroin, and more serious than fentanyl. I wanted to make a joke then, but I didn't. No, it makes no sense. I'm asking somebody, Attorney General and Secretary Becerra, whatever.
Sure.
Yeah, to initiate the process of reviewing how marijuana is scheduled under the federal law. Secretary Xavier, somebody, 25th Secretary to the government. I don't know who gives a shit.
Sure.
I'd also like to note that as a federal and state regulations change, we still need important limitations on trafficking, marketing, and underage sales of marijuana. Sending people to jail for possessing marijuana has upended too many lives for conduct that is legal in many states. That's before you address the clear racial disparities around prosecution and conviction. Today we begin to right these wrongs. I don't suppose it's because one community enjoys it more than the other, right? No, I'm kidding, of course. I wouldn't mean that. Styx's reply to this: you're pardoning a few hundred people as a monumental and desperate grandstand. You are literally the godfather of the tough on crime 94 bill that jailed tens of thousands of people for excessive periods for little to no reason. Failure, abject, and abysmal moron. Someone replied to that. Times change, he gets it. Maybe you should as well. Biden isn't tweeting this shit. Biden is... Why is pedo Putin trending on Twitter? You know what? It doesn't matter.
I don't know.
Doesn't matter. But yeah, that's...
I have a user trending on Twitter on my end, Bowsette.
All right, okay. Well, that was the Twitter thread. Basically, he is seeking to pardon all federal offences for possession of marijuana. Now, it says for federal, all prior for simple possession. What does that...
This is odd, right? So he is talking about originally, right? Like, what he's going to do is he's going to pardon people for, or he's asking governors to pardon people for simple possession.
Yeah.
He said he's trying to make strides in order to, what I presume, is decriminalize it.
You'd think,
so kind of, when I first saw it as, Biden is going to pardon people for, marijuana possession, was kind of the originally the same opinion that I had with student loans, which was, well, you're going to fix the problem now, but you're not changing the way that we got there. So until he starts making strides to federally decriminalize it, I have a bit of skepticism looking at the way that he's, moving forward with it.
Yeah.
I like the idea. I don't want anybody to think that I don't, because I genuinely do like the idea that we can finally move away from classifying marijuana as something that it's basically been lied about for all these years. I mean, they used to classify it as a Schedule 1 drug. One of the conditions of a Schedule 1 drug is that it has no medicinal purpose.
That's obviously been proven.
Right, I was saying, marijuana has plenty of medicinal
CBD
purpose.
stuff is quite popular.
Yeah, anti-inflammatories. It helps control seizures, anxiety. Absolutely. How about regaining weight for people who have been?
I didn't know that.
Well, it gets the munchies, right?
Oh, that makes more sense than you said that way.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a natural way to increase people's appetite.
Gotcha.
Which is really helpful after things like surgery because of all the other things on top of it. So, I mean, thank God we've finally gotten to this point where somebody is saying it. However, as you, I think, alluded to earlier, the timing, right?
Yeah.
Interesting that his timing is just now. I question it in the sense that, well, how bad are your polling numbers that you feel like you have to do this? The answer is pretty fucking bad. Let me see. Job approval.
It can't be. I would have thought his were getting a little bit higher of late, solely because of midterms.
They were. Let me see. 538. I want to see the aggregate. 51% 0.5 disapprove, 42.7% approve as a estimate and aggregation of polls. So they are going back towards the center, but not as much as he probably wants.
I'll be honest. It's impressive then that he still gets all this positive press, but on the face of it, the idea of the pardon, I do have to again hyper focus on that one bit, because while he said no one should be in jail for using or possessing, he has mentioned pardoning of simple possession. So it's not as much of a. It shouldn't. It's a deal, yes, but it's not really including the using part in the tweet anyway. So unless that was accidentally omitted, I don't see this as much of a big win as it could be interpreted as.
I think simple usage was also like included, but yeah, if it's not like it specifically like listed.
You put out a Twitter. The thing is, you put out a massive Twitter thread on this. You'd think they'd include that word. It's only a few extra characters. But you are right. It's more than likely I'm just, again, looking at something a bit too much. But a first step it is. What are your thoughts on federal decriminalization of it?
Well, I think that we definitely should have gone this route a long time ago. I think, honestly, Trump should have done it when he had the opportunity to.
Couldn't have done that with his supporter base.
Oh, I know. Well, not necessarily. There are
not
individuals within the Republicans who agree, but yeah, Fox News still has this shitty ass take about weed being like somehow something to be like looking down upon, the same way that like old school like parents used to be like, oh, weed smokers.
I mean, I look down on smokers, so I don't really give a shit. As long as you don't smoke near me, I couldn't care less.
I wouldn't look down on them any more than I look down on a fucking drunk. In fact, I would probably look down on a drunk more so.
No, I look down on smokers more. But it's just me.
Really?
I hate smoking. I hate it. I've always hated smoking. But if you want to do this stuff, that's up. I'm not going to judge for that. I just think less of you. I'm just not a big fan. I've never been a fan of smoking. I never have. So I don't care if it's legal or not. If it's legal, tax the fuck out of it, because then at least you get to make some money out of it. There you go.
True.
That was an idea Undoomed had said to me years ago, and go nuts. At least then you can make some money out of it, and that might help you a little bit. I know some states where it is legal have made billions from tax, and that's good.
Oh, news. Absolutely.
So
it's a great opportunity. I don't know why people wouldn't want to take that opportunity. You
are supposedly the land of opportunity after all.
Allegedly.
Well, rumor has it.
But the thing is he's doing this before the midterms. Obviously,
yeah, it's a midterm.
He's doing it because they're going to lose the midterms. So I'm more curious to see what comes out afterwards, right? So he might make the comment about fixing that problem now, but what comes after that? Like after the midterms, how is he going to then basically go back on his word? Because he has a bad habit of doing that.
Yeah. I do want to quickly address something in the chat from Jenny. So there are some sources. I wish I kept them. Is it 3 in 10? Develop a form of... Oh, it's in the Halls of Injustice. That's why. It's the newest one. There's a 3 in 10... Or was it 1 in 10? 3 in 10, I think. Individuals, because of the different strains of these marijuana plants and whatever...
Yeah.
3 in 10 chance that someone will develop a form of psychosis from overuse. It is not uncommon. That's why many people say do things in moderation. It's the same with drinking too much alcohol. Yeah, no shit, your liver swells and it eventually fails. It's always the same in excess. You get fat if you eat too much. It's the same principle. You take too many drugs, you're going to overdose.
Right.
But the psychosis thing, and as you mentioned, schizophrenia, it is not uncommon. because of overuse or because that person's body reacts so badly to what they're taking.
Right. I do know some people who have some bad reactions to it. And I mean, at that point, you just go, all right, this isn't for you.
Yeah, so, people said that to me when they smoked around me and I ended up punching someone in the face for it. They said pretty much the same thing, but with a fat lip. Right. Keep it away from me. That's all I ask. Please.
Right. And I mean the same thing with people who some people will respect your boundaries and some people won't. And the people who won't, probably you shouldn't be friends with them anyway.
Very true. Very true. Although I do find you need to
boundaries, they're not good friends.
You need to you need to be open to different people's ways of life, at least.
Yeah, at least accept that if they do it, if you request, just be it something over there, right?
So it's a friend of the family who comes over every weekend, and he smokes, but he always makes it a point to smoke away from me. If it's blowing in my direction, he asks to swap seats just so the smoke goes the other way. I can respect that, because chances are, if anyone's going to get cancer, sod's law will be the one person that doesn't smoke around here. Not saying I'm going to get it. Shut up. I'm saying sod's law. Murphy's for the Americans. Okay.
That's what I was like. I'm not familiar, but all right, cool.
Yeah, Murphy's law. Right. That's it.
Let's move on from that then.
Okay. I guess I have one more question actually related to this.
Sure.
How long does it take for more of this to progress? Is he going to wait until after the midterms, or is he going to try and push more through while he still has control of the House?
Good question. I don't know. Because technically this would be something that he should be able to do as the leader of the executive, regardless of the House. Like, this should be something that the department... well, actually, I don't know.
So I kind of thought he would push it now, if only because he has a greater chance of keeping the House if he gets it through. But then again, actually, in retro, maybe not as well, because don't forget here, he's got to appeal to other states that are still mostly, still red. He can still do it with the blue states, sure, but a lot of them are swings. They may not be in favor of this, but he's not going to be. He doesn't need to worry about them so much because they more than likely will lean in favor anyway. It's whether he can appease more in any case to jump ship or vote on this issue when there are many other issues that are a problem right now. And this is another executive order, isn't it?
Probably in this case it will be, yeah.
So that I think I remember hearing about that. That to me is another almost like not necessarily a red flag, but it's I don't need to follow the process, so let me just skip all the stuff. No ladders, just snake to the end. I find that I don't mind. I love the idea of the executive orders, but I think you get too many. Come on.
He has quite a few, doesn't he?
Fuck me. I know Trump used it a little bit as well, but come on.
Oh. No, he takes liberties with that whole thing, I think.
And holidays. Everyone was railing on Trump for the golf course stuff, and Obama, by the way. This guy's taken more holidays.
He has. He has spent more time away from the White House than
I happily will criticize any person who is in high office that takes as much holiday as this guy, because even our politicians don't take that much, and our politicians are lazy.
True.
Okay. Right. Well, I'll close those. There was something else either I or you had posted. Was it me? Oh no, North Korea fired a missile over Japan. Oh no, who you tweeted? Who the fuck let the monkeys speak? Retweeting a Beto O'Rourke. After 8 years with Greg Abbott in office, Texans are now paying higher taxes than those in California. By the way, the majority of the replies have me in hysterics.
Oh, they're fantastic, aren't they?
Why is that though, Trups?
Well, okay, so which part? Why is he saying that, or why did I call him an ape?
I mean, it's apes have some intelligence, so I have to question it a little.
Okay, fine. So after 8 years with Greg Abbott, Texans are now paying higher taxes than those in California. First of all, it is a yes, but also kind of thing.
Yeah.
Are they paying more taxes overall? No. Are they paying more taxes in certain places? Yes. California still leads it in fucking property taxes. And Texas doesn't have an income tax. So if you are a government and you are trying to figure out a way to maximize your tax revenue, this information is slightly detrimental to your intentions because you don't have income tax. You need to find another place to put it.
Don't be so pedantic, Chaos. That's why I called you boy's name on my server.
So apparently, according to this Progress for People image that is the people supporting Beto in the replies, are talking about who pays the state local taxes as share of family income by income group. And what they're saying is the majority of taxes are paid by the bottom, the lower income people.
Is that true?
I think it's misleading.
Because that's kind of a strange thing over here. Because in our country, the majority of the tax, is paid by the richest.
Well, here's the thing: in California, they allege that the top 1% are the ones who are paying for the most taxes.
They have the highest tax rate. That's not true in the slightest.
It also has to do with the fact that they have an income tax that they automatically will pull out of people's paychecks and then send. So let's say you work for a company, your taxes will be paid on your behalf by your company withholding certain money to pay for those taxes, and they basically get automatically deducted.
Right.
Also, depending on where you are, certain tax benefits may or may not, save you if you have like a large building, for instance. Those things may not always play out in the cleanest numbers on paper, so it's kind of a yes but also not really kind of thing. The real question is, when it comes down to like who pays more taxes in Texas, is where's the tax money coming from, and how is it distributed? Now, a lot of people are moving to Texas. Now, you might ask, okay, why is that? Let's take the streamers, right? A lot of streamers are moving from California to Texas, okay? It's because their income tax doesn't exist. Asterisk.
Right.
And versus in the tax brackets that they would have had to pay in California was brutal. And also, property is cheaper in certain areas of Texas. If you're going to live in the middle of Austin, it's still going to be expensive, but still not as expensive as a penthouse in fucking New York.
I like some of the replies to this, by the way, because others have pointed out to Beto's own tweet of the high taxes thing, that California's cost of living more than makes up for the difference, and that California also has areas set aside for safe heroin injections. Who do you think you're fooling? A big chunk have called him a pathological liar. Some have used the state local tax burden calendar showing, which shows on it like percentage of tax. Is it? And Texas is 8.6%. It's sixth. Tax burden, it's quite low. In fact, it's one of the lowest, sixth from bottom. The lowest would be Wyoming's second. Tennessee's third. Who's first? That's 12. Alaska. No, not Alaska. Yeah, Alaska's first. 4.6%. Highest would be California. No, New York. 15.9%. New York in California is 46, so it's quite high. Others, Illinois, Utah's 40, Virginia's 43. Maine is 41, Vermont 47. Like, they're huge.
Yeah, basically what you have is you have Democrat areas are bleeding people. Now, that's a combination of different problems. It's policies, it's a softness on crime, it's high costs of living, and they're flocking to places like Florida, like Texas, like Tennessee, like South Carolina, like places like that.
They should move to Wyoming.
You could do that, but the problem is there's nothing in Wyoming.
They can make it if they if
True,
nothing go.
But they're not entrepreneurs; they're leeches.
Oh, that makes sense. Locust usually goes somewhere for a harvest, so you're actually quite
right. And then when it's all gone, they move to the next place. So the liberals have destroyed California, which, remember, used to be a nice place to be.
Why didn't they go to Arizona next? Why Texas next? Why not Arizona, then New Mexico, and then Texas? Why don't they go in order?
Because there's too many minorities there.
But there's shitloads of minorities
there's too
in Texas.
Many immigrants. There's too many immigrants in Arizona for the liberals to want to go there.
But there's shitloads in Texas who don't want them there. The Californians there either.
Yeah, but if you go up high enough in Texas, you don't have to worry about the border state problem.
All right.
Out of sight, out of mind. That's how these people live.
I'll defer to your superior knowledge on that one.
People are fucking scumbags. Is really what it comes down to.
What state has the letter CT?
Connecticut.
Right, that's 49.
Okay.
New Jersey 45, DC 39. That's not a state though. RI Rhode Island 36. MA not Missouri. What's MA? Montana.
MA?
Yeah, what's MA?
No, Montana's MT.
Yeah.
MA. Maine?
No, ME is Maine, I believe. It's the top. That's the top right, isn't it?
Oh, Massachusetts. Ash behind me is like Massachusetts.
So
it's like a trivia
no
night.
lie, in my head, I thought Massachusetts was a part of Connecticut. That's why I completely forgot about it. And then I remember, oh look, Boston. I shouldn't forget this because they do that tea thing. Right. They like to remind us about that. I actually couldn't give a fuck about. I don't drink tea.
Hey, look, it's all they have. That and the Red Sox.
I mean, the only thing they've got that I want is their cold weather.
Do you really want that?
I love cold weather. Honestly, it suits me so well.
You're such a British person.
I like another tweet here of interest.
Deep Dive Gaming. There's nothing in Wyoming. Yes, I'm helping you.
40% of Texans.
There's nothing in Wyoming, everybody.
Right. 40% of Texans are broke. 14.2% live in poverty. 19.2% children live in poverty. 9th largest economy in the world. I don't know what ponage that is supposed to mean, but it got a lot of likes. So I think there is clearly some disparities in Texas. No one should, but I do want to also. You've got a little O'Rourke agenda thing picture here. I'm going to read. So Soros-funded anti-Americanism, open borders amnesty, raising taxes, state income tax, CRT education, parental exclusion. Gun confiscation, red flag laws, abortion on demand to birth, defund pregnancy aid centers, war on oil and gas killing Texas jobs, defund reimagine the police, massive increased spending, and loosen election integrity laws.
True. This is all true.
I assume also skateboards for free because Beto is a skater boy.
Yes. See you later, boy.
I was waiting for that.
Yes, you're welcome. No, he is.
That would be very anti-Texas.
One of the biggest flip-flops ever, by the way.
That would be such a big kick in the. Texans surely won't vote for that.
No, correct. But with enough people moving from California, it's turning the area, like some of Texas, blue. However, then the liberals are now living in the state that they've been ignoring when it comes to the border crisis. So suddenly there's a whole bunch of fucking woke-pilled liberals who are like, oh my god, the migrants here are everywhere. Oh my god.
I would have thought, so I don't know if it would possibly lead to any change in those people who move from California to Texas, but if they see this influx coming into the state they live in, it's surely going to challenge what they believe. And that could well lead them to be like, okay, perhaps this isn't such a good idea. Because they could lose their jobs, they could lose their homes, you know.
The people in Texas are already pretty red. I mean, areas around Austin, around Houston, those places are like blue, but that's because, cities usually bring Democrats, or just they prefer liberal policies in cities because it's more conducive to their living situation, as opposed to the farmers and people who live out in the middle of nowhere. Basically, are embodying the whole "fucking leave me alone." So if you look at things like the people who already live there, they don't really have anything to like question. They're already very confident in the fact that they don't like other people getting involved in their fucking business. It's the problem is the people coming in with no respect for what the state believes or wants. And that's the biggest problem, honestly.
Because I don't know much about what's going on with Texas right now, and obviously you've got this election. Do you think O'Rourke wins?
No, absolutely not.
I also thought there were term limits on governors.
There might be.
Because he's been in for 8 years. That means he's done 2 terms. I would have thought that was it for him.
Well, we have that for.
I always thought it was 2 for governors as well because they're a leader of sorts anyway.
46 states have term limits on governors.
Okay.
Texas is not one of them.
Okay. Well, that makes more sense because I knew about other states.
Mm-hmm.
Fair enough. There have been people in my Twitch chat and in this chat who have said to me they thought that O'Rourke will win, and I'm just sat back like, but I remember having this discussion in 2016 and in 2020, and people were saying the state is going blue, but as things have gone blue a little, it hasn't gone in. It's like it's a blue that's in flux, because even though people are going there, they're then realizing actually this doesn't, what we believed in California does not apply here. It's not. It's a different culture, a different environment, a different working situation, and I can't. I because of how it's been read for such a long time, I can't see it being blue. But that would be impressive because then if Texas did go blue, there'll be this belief that perhaps it would go blue and just stay blue, and then in turn other states would also go blue. I don't see that. I don't see it happening at all. But that's just an outsider perspective of what could O'Rourke do to actually benefit the state of Texas? And based on what we know so far, none of these raise taxes doesn't feel very Texan. Red flag laws, gun confiscation, CRT is hotly contested right now. That is a big negatory. Abortion, really, in Texas? Defund and reimagine the police in Texas? Are you mental? Increased spending. Where are you going to get the money from? And election integrity.
The thing is, these are all such like painfully stereotypical Democrat policies.
You're not even trying to hide it.
Well, it's not even like he really stands on it either. Like, okay, so the defund the police thing, he had the interview where he was like, we need to defund in certain contexts in police department where they're not found to be needed. Okay. And then he was asked about it again recently. Yeah. And someone's like, do you believe in this? And he goes, no, of course not.
Oh my God.
All right.
You know what it is? He's trying to, in some contexts, he's trying to give off this idea that he is well and truly like a Texan of all Texan type. Oh no, I don't believe any of this really. But if he gets elected, it's the first thing he's going to do.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely he will. Because, again, he's basically saying that, oh, by the way, you guys are too stupid to know that this is going to happen. Like, he's basically playing on that whole thing that we were talking about a little while ago, where the individuals who are... who are politically maybe not as educated or not as interested as many of us, basically they're easy pickings, right? They're easy to convince, use, and abuse for their belief system, right?
Yeah.
So in that context, of course, you have somebody who will basically say whatever may get them the most votes, and then they're going to flip on that and do whatever the fuck they want, because That's just how terrible people work. He's a terrible person. I mean, you're talking about going when the Uvalde situation happened. He actually went to. I think I had mentioned this during one of our recaps. He went to a meeting where the governor was basically. Oh, sorry, the mayor and the governor were basically giving a state of the investigation to aggrieved parents and concerned members of the community about the situation and about how it was going. And that motherfucker, Beto O'Rourke, goes to the meeting, stands up in front of the fucking stage, points at the guy, and basically says, their blood is on your hands. The mayor of Uvalde got so pissed, he says, what the hell is wrong with you? You are sick in the head if you want to come here and do this.
Mm-hmm.
Which, in my opinion, yeah, pretty much. I agree. But that, I mean, the guy's got no fucking, like, awareness of like, he can't read a room. I think he's too fucked up in the head to be able to read the room.
So I've been taking the liberty of looking at the 2020 election because curiosity for the state of Texas. People like to talk about, for example, Latino voters. Beto comes from El Paso, the district held by him for a number of terms as a Democrat and is currently held by a Democrat as well. But it's one of the very few districts in Texas held by the Democrats. Genuinely, there are not many. I know, but less people in these more red areas, I get it. People like to talk about, like, for example, those of Latino or Mexican heritage in 2020. Trump actually took, he flipped Jim Wells County, LaSalle County, that have predominant Mexican heritage people. So Beto, there is a, you know, we've spoken this before. Actually, people thought that if you had more people who were from other countries come into America, they would vote Democrat. But as you can see, that's not the case, even in Texas, because these people have integrated properly and realized, nah, fuck you, you shithouses. We like this way of life. Beto is a threat to that because he is proven demonstrably that he is, because of the policies that he would be willing to push. I don't know much about Greg Abbott though, so I don't know how he thinks he's a viable candidate. If I go and look at Greg Abbott now though, as let's have a look at his election results. Yeah, let's go and see how he's done over the gubernational. He won 55.8% to 42.5% in 2018. Is that the governor thing?
I think so.
Okay,
yeah.
2018
Yeah.
Texas. Yeah. Oh, sorry, not national. Gubernatorial. I didn't know the pronunciation.
Yeah, it's gubernatorial.
Yeah. Well, he won it by such a giant margin, 55.8% to 42.5%. And while time has changed, and yes, Biden-Trump was close. It was close. That was Biden-Trump with a turnout that was higher than anything anyone had ever been used to.
Mm-hmm.
What was the turnout on this? I don't know. I'm looking at the.
Probably, well, if it was in the same year as Trump, then it would have been the same.
The turnout was less for the 2018 governor thing because both had over 5 million votes each. This has 4.6 and 3.5 million. So you got here Abbott won majority on European Americans, Valdez mostly African Americans, and Latinos, although with Latinos it was 63% to 35%. Clearly.
Latinos are a very, very varied voting bloc, and Democrats are starting to realize that as they start to lose control of, like, for example, I believe there is a Congress candidate in Texas. Her name is Mayra Flores.
Yeah.
And she's like Latina Mexican mom, right? So if you want to take like the stereotypical like Hispanic woman and their values, that's essentially what she's believing in and what she's campaigning on.
Yeah.
So she's got this strong, the firebrand Hispanic attitude.
Yeah.
And Democrats are kind of shocked to see that their candidates are being defeated by somebody who is as red-blooded as Mayra Flores.
So that's another point, because with Abbott's win, I've noticed here he beat somebody who'd been a sheriff, Hispanic background, but Abbott is Texas through and through. If you look at his own career, he's basically Texas.
Mm-hmm.
That's what he is. His wife is a granddaughter to a Mexican immigrant. She's the first Hispanic first lady of Texas by definition.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't use Hispanic against him. All they've got is that he has the majority of the white Europeans. Well, if you don't alienate them so much, which people seem to love doing, you might stand a better chance. Although I don't know anything about the election between him and Abbott and the lady whose name I've forgotten already. But
Mayra Flores,
Lupe Valdez, actually, the person
that one. Okay.
the one who went against Abbott in 2018.
Okay.
But there are some things you can't use against him. That's why you notice with what Beto O'Rourke, for example, this O'Rourke agenda, it's so anti-Texas. Because that's all he's got.
It is, and when he was when he made the gun comments, it was one of the most it was one of the most tone deaf ideas that you would have, because he basically went through the classic Democrat argument of why people don't need guns, and almost every person who is a gun-toting, law-abiding citizen will never bend to a kind of an argument that basically goes down the line of, well, look at this bad thing that happened. By you having a gun, you are partially responsible for this bad thing happening.
That sounds like a very British thing.
You will never get a single person. Oh, yeah, but you will never get a single law-abiding citizen to basically go, you will never get them to go, I agree with that idea. I am somehow responsible for the Uvalde shooting. Absolutely not. That being said, though, the whole, combine that with the basic Democrat policies of, hey, let's spend more, let's go green and thus ruin the oil industry in fucking Texas. Let's go down the list of stupidity. Essentially, just to, I guess, to spite everything, right? Might as well, because burn it all to the ground, because the rest of the country is going down with it, I guess.
Well, obviously. Unless you're in Wyoming, in which case you're doing fantastic.
Apparently.
And Tennessee.
But really what's happening with Democrats is that their voting base, the one that they're acquiring, is white, upper middle class women, is right now a lot of their voting base. And I know a lot of people are like, wow, really? No way.
Yeah, try to imagine on my face a form of surprised look, which we can call imagine my shock.
Right.
It's pretty much that. Are they the ones that work, or the ones that stay at home complaining they want a job?
Probably the ones that stay at home and complain about the patriarchy.
Oh, for God's sake, they're still doing that?
Them down as, oh yeah.
Oh, so boring. So gauche.
I know, right?
Can they have an original thought, please? Horribly. I'm getting bored of it.
No. No, they can't.
Tragic.
That's too easy.
It feels like such an SJW, anti-SJW thing still. I can't believe we're circling back to this. Actually, that would make sense, actually, because when I first started on YouTube, Obama was in office. So go figure, we'd circle back when there was another Dem in office. It It feels like a renaissance, and I don't like it. It doesn't deserve a renaissance. Look, you've got equality-ish, except for a few things now. You've got something. Work with it. Please stop. Actually, you know what? You just do you. Just know that if you're going to keep making these entitled and really poorly thought out decisions, you are just going to shine an even greater light on your third world country.
Yes.
Republic. And I'm going by what others call your republic, not what I call it. I call it a place I wanted to live, after all.
True.
If only so I could have a pew pew doodah thingy.
We like the pew pew doodah thingy.
Weegly. I'd have it weegly. Yeah. I'd be very happy with it. Yes.
Good.
So I really struggle to comprehend some things when it comes to all this, because you've got this. I understand the idea of when the tides change, you move on. But if you are creating that ill tide in your wake, and then you're creating it elsewhere, all you do is further risk additional destruction. Why are people not understanding that they are? Why are people so arrogant that they can't accept they play a part in these things going wrong? Why is it, well, we've done this, now let's sod off? Because I've seen a lot of creators, a lot of podcasters as well, move to Texas from California, but the majority of them seem to sit more center-right, and have done it because of tax reasons, if anything. But also because the environment was more, the culture of Texas seemed more welcoming, happy, and also no one's outside because of how fucking hot it is. So why are these people so dumb that they have to keep on moving? And don't forget here, say hypothetically Texas went, and it was also in a way ruined. It would take generations to achieve. Let's admit that. It's not happening, really. Sorry, but I'm sorry, Beto does not beat Greg Abbott. I'm sorry. The only way he could have beaten him is if he latched onto the shooting and had a go at him for not using guns fast enough. But since guns are anti-Dem, or Dems are anti-gun, he has nothing on Greg Abbott, really. Other than he can stand.
The biggest problem... They are trying desperately to win over Texas because of its electoral college implication. It has a lot of electoral college votes, and if the Democrats were to win over Texas, then there would never really be a question as to who is going to win the presidential election, because it would almost always go blue. Because they own California and New York, the Electoral College would essentially be in their pocket every single time.
And yet they were the same, unironically complaining in 2016 and got all the actors to cringily put out the "Let's abolish the Electoral College."
Yeah. Well, if they had the if they got their way, they basically wouldn't have to worry about that ever again. So that's why they're putting so much emphasis on Florida, which I believe has 30-something electoral votes, and I think I forget how many Texas has. Electoral map. Meow.
Florida is 29 and 38 for Texas.
Yeah. Okay.
Sorry, I got it in Google Images straight away.
Nice. So if they won that, then they would basically only ever have to worry about, a couple of states ever again.
Do you think that if they did, say hypothetically they did that, right? Right, they did that, and I think what they'd do, they'd get complacent. They'd forget the states that have less votes, and they'd eventually just go red anyway.
I mean, there is a certain point in which no matter how many smaller red states, with a certain amount of electoral votes, it does not matter how many other states that they can muster. Yeah, there's just simply not enough. And because they can't abolish the electoral college, no matter how bad they want to.
They want to, don't they?
Oh, they desperately do.
They just want to change it to popular vote, because in retrospect, you're hard pressed to get a Republican that gets the popular vote.
True.
It's happened many times, far too many, in fact. You're always going to be hard pressed. If it was just a popular vote, then they'd always win, which I think is so dumb. Oh, but we win every time. Yes, because there are more of you morons here. I'm not saying all Democrats, by the way. Just the ones.
The entire point of the Electoral College is that the majority should not rule over a minority. Like, that's the reason why we're a constitutional republic and not just a straight democracy.
That was where that's why I saw people like, and I love Sophane. I would keep saying it, but he was saying, but we got more votes. We should be heard more. What's it going to take for you to understand that if more of us vote this, then we should, be in charge, kind of thing? And I was sat back like, that's not how your system has ever worked. Why are you now so salty about it?
Well, the thing is, it shouldn't work like that. Because if that were the case, then the Civil Rights Act would never have been passed. And nobody should be of the opinion that that was somehow something that we did incorrectly. Okay? Like, us passing the Civil Rights Act was a good thing.
Yeah.
And keeping that in place is also a very good thing. I don't know how on earth some of the people who are currently like operating within the Democratic Party, who are trying to basically shoo in this kind of bullshit, have not like taken a step back for just one fucking second to go, maybe if we did this, it may not pan out the way that we really want it to. So perhaps we reevaluate what we're all about here, and maybe instead of advocating for the exact system that allowed you to pass, civil rights legislation, maybe you stop being such a goddamn bigot.
That's fair.
In my opinion.
While you were talking, I was playing the national anthem from start to finish for your country.
Sick.
Yeah, I know, right? I was like, I'm gonna make him sound more important, and I realized I was using my thumb. Fuck's sake, no one heard that there. Mm-hmm. Or the fact that I slipped on about 4 keys. That was great.
Awesome. I'm glad.
I do my bit. All right. It's like one of a dozen songs I can play off the top of my head.
Nice. But fun story about that whole Uvalde thing. I guess not so fun story, but kind of fun story. The school district suspended the entire police force.
As they should.
Mm-hmm. That came out today. Let's see here. The Uvalde, Texas school district still facing withering criticism over its police department's failings, both the May 24th elementary school massacre and since announced the suspension of the entire district police force on Friday. The superintendent has announced his retirement. And yeah, so that's basically that the failure of them to act in a proper manner.
You mean like the one that was going down there and putting his hand in the hand sanitizer first before carrying on?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that man.
Or the fact that nobody went in. Nobody. Like, you pussies. There are parents outside who would have walked in there and gone, I'm fucking you up.
Yeah, true.
Like, I'm sorry, but you guys, your duty, it's in your title. Protect and serve. Isn't that on badges?
Mm-hmm. It's on cars.
Fam. I'm sorry.
No, you're absolutely correct.
Someone does a school shooting here, I promise you, the first response is the parents are punting the living out of that person.
Absolutely.
It's
happening. I mean, and that's just the natural reaction. I mean, you want to protect your kids, and not everybody is going to be standing by clutching their pearls about it. They're going to go in and fucking do something about it, especially in Texas.
Yeah, in London, recently, somebody was stabbed. Mm-hmm. I know, shocker. Well, actually, 3 people were. Because the person who'd done the stabbing was robbing someone else. The other 3 came over and went and stopped it. And they got stabbed for it. But they had a go. props to them. They deserve a medal for that because they did the right thing. They got involved and stopped it from getting any worse. Yes, they got hurt,
Right.
but they did their duty to their people.
Mm-hmm. And it's a nice scar to tell at the bar. Talk about it at the bar.
I got like one on the back of my index finger from a model knife, and I like to tell people. I just have to make sure my nail looks nice.
You know what's funny about that? Sean Bean, I remember him getting into it with somebody outside of a bar, gets stabbed, and like an absolute fucking Chad walks back into the bar and keeps drinking.
Did that actually happen, or was that in a film?
No, that actually fucking happened.
Sean Bean. Okay, Boromir, yeah?
Yeah, Boromir.
Fucking hell. Credit to him, I guess. I like that. To be honest, isn't he a Brummie? Let me just check. I want to check.
I think so.
If he's a Brummie, it makes perfect sense, actually. Is he a Brummie? Oh, let's find out. Where was he born? Handsworth. Oh, Sheffield. He's a northerner. No, it makes perfect sense. It's perfect sense.
Yeah. Fucking... Yeah. Because actor Sean Bean stabbed outside bar, goes back in to drink.
Yeah. He's from Sheffield. Complete sense at that point. Just because they're kind of nutters,
Yeah, but like, yeah, no, that's what you should do. There are too many. There's a fucking large crime problem that we have in this country right now because of too many district attorneys who don't want to prosecute quote unquote low level crime, but they're also like letting out like violent offenders too,
right?
Without actually executing proper justice. Like, for example, the person who had gotten out on bail, who had admitted to running over a 18-year-old on political grounds. That guy got released. Yeah, he's really wanting my attention. What do you want?
What do you want, cat? Meow.
He's just sitting on a binder, looking up at us like, "Hello, I'm here."
I like the cat already.
Yes, he's fucking annoying as hell.
Good.
I love him, but goddamn it. God, where was I going? Oh, Crime Street. Yeah, so we have a problem where a lot of the crime that we see comes in the form of like a Twitter video of some dickhead filming it, but not doing anything about it.
That's happening a lot over here as well.
Like, I understand you want to go, famous for your viral video, but can you at least pretend that you have some sort of moral or like ethical duty to your fellow man just for once? They don't even have to say thank you.
Yeah.
Just do it because you know it's the right thing.
Just to give this some like personal, if I say I would actually help, I'm not lying. My dad used to live in Margate on a top floor flat, like 5 flats up, 5 stories, 6 stories, whatever that is. I looked out of the kitchen window, which is at the back, on the seafront near the Winter Garden venue, which is a very lovely venue. And I saw a man beating his woman. I was 17. I ran down the stairs. He was still doing it by the time I got there. I went over there and I drop kicked him. She then tries to defend him. I then carried on kicking him until a few of his teeth came out. Why? Because that's what one does. She's clearly got a form of Stockholm syndrome. He was beating her. I didn't have a mobile phone, so the police came and I explained why I beat the crap out of him. Bosh. I would genuinely step in if I have to because I've got really heavy hands. All right.
I mean, it's just I don't understand the people who look at crime being committed, especially some of the more severe.
I don't get my phone out. Like, nah. You know what I mean? Like, I don't get my phone out to take a video of it. No, I'm gonna stop it. If you've got a video of it, great. But I'm kicking the shit out of someone.
Right, you're gonna get a nice shot of me kicking the crap out of somebody. Is what you're gonna get.
As long as you get my good side.
Yeah. True.
Don't know which one that is.
Yeah, I don't understand why this is like it's a strange thought for some people, because to me, in my brain, right, this is just a normal thing that one should do. And the fact that it's almost like not first name, I wonder how these people were raised genuinely.
It's a strange situation to be raised in, though, isn't it? Because people are becoming more. How do you put it? No, hang on. Think about it. It's strict because they're becoming more reliant on technology, and so perhaps these ideas and lessons that need to be imparted aren't being taken in because how they absorb information now isn't the same medium as someone sitting down and talking to you about what is right and wrong. And I can say some experience because I I had to talk to my niece on Monday or Tuesday. I think it was Monday at dinner because she keeps on making mistakes. She's the eldest. I don't want to put pressure on her because she's the oldest. I want to put pressure on her because she's making mistakes. And these mistakes come from cutting corners. So I wanted to tell, I told, dry throat, sorry. I wanted to go through a number of examples of me in my life where I cut corners. Now, I couldn't use education because I got to the pinnacle. It didn't matter. Only when I went to university did I bother putting any effort in. Prior to that, I did nothing. But when I talk about other areas of life like work, where I cut corners, and it cost me, maybe my health, maybe hygiene, areas where you shouldn't cut corners, I have paid for it. And the one thing I could do then to demonstrate where I couldn't cut a corner was by showing her that play button. Because I couldn't cut a corner to get one of those. You can't buy subs because if you do, YouTube will find out. I wouldn't anyway because I wouldn't have an audience. You can't cut your corners if you want to succeed at anything you want to do. And half an hour later, I asked her what the lesson was after telling her the lesson half an hour earlier. And her mother couldn't have rolled her eyes any more when she realized her daughter, while looking at me the entire time, hadn't listened to a word I said. I was like, the fun fact for me really is you're the smartest of your generation. That tells me everything about the rest of them, so I don't have to waste my time on you anymore because I can't be arsed.
The thing is that when they're kids, what you did, regardless of whether or not they quote unquote listened, they'll remember it later.
I hope they do.
Like as they get older, they're going to remember something like that, and they're going to go back on that memory and say, you know what, that person was right, but I was too young to understand or to want to care. Well, I think that's where that goes.
I would like to believe she did learn, but one of them was about brushing her teeth, and the first thing she did the moment my friend left was claim she had when her toothbrush had not been touched. So maybe she'll learn later in life when she has to have fillings. And I did say,
yes, probably.
So just a story here for people listening. When I was a kid, was never told to brush my teeth, nor was I taught to. It wasn't until I was older, in my teens, when I had to go to the dentist and have surgery, because I didn't have one. I didn't have a toothbrush, didn't have toothpaste. I had to learn my lesson by having a mouthful of fillings. And that sucks. Many of the kids now have the absolute privilege of being taught at a younger age to get this down, so when they're older, they just knock it out in the morning and get it over and done with. You know what I mean? Like it becomes muscle memory. It's an easy chore. But it doesn't seem to compute with some who don't understand consequences, which I find a fascinating concept, because we all make those. It happens with every generation. We always still make those same mistakes as time goes by. We constantly repeat the mistake anyway, no matter how many times someone tells us not to. Or
every older generation will kind of tell you that same thing. They will try to teach you, but some people literally just learn by experience. And I'm one of those people. And like my parents tried their best, right, to tell me like to avoid certain things, but I did it anyway. But the real reason why I did was because I don't instantaneously just like go, oh yeah, that's correct. Like,
but there's skepticism,
you know better,
isn't there?
Yeah, of course. And honestly, it's hard sometimes because when you're younger, you know things that your parents don't know. And that can make it sound like not everything that they completely correct on. And so that lends a certain amount of skepticism. And so then you're like, well, what are they actually correct about? Well, as it turns out, when I make the mistake finally, I go, you know what? Fuck me. You were correct.
You know, I wish I had this, like, I wish deep in my heart that one day a relative of mine that I have given up trying to help will finally admit that every time I was proven right with every prediction I ever made of their future, they will finally just say 3 words to me. You were right. Because at this point,
wanting that forever.
And this is going to sound remarkably cocky, but there's one member of my family who I have given advice to years in advance because I knew I knew it would happen because I know them.
Mm-hmm.
It's simple as that. If you know someone, you can predict their future. It's not rocket science here. They're predictable people. And they ignored me every single time and did the wrong thing. And that was another lesson I wanted to impart on my niece because I desperately wanted to get. I don't want it to be like that. Because at some point we all wash our hands at people when we realise they're no longer going to listen. And I'd love for that relative in question to finally get it into their head. I'm better than them because I got it all right and you had every chance to do the right. This isn't arrogance. It's verifiable fact, okay?
When it comes to rearing kids, though, you'll almost never get that admission. I mean, like, bless you for it, but you'll never get it.
Honestly, maybe I'm just entitled. I'm a snowflake. I just need the attention, all right? We've run out of time, by the way.
All right.
I'm gonna have to.
I apologize for the tangent, but it was good. It was good things.
It ties into the voter thing because it talks about youth and like those mistakes repeating things. Because people don't. This all ties into what Beto is trying to latch onto. That willingness to make those mistakes, even though those mistakes were made elsewhere. Like you've seen it not work. Now try it here. When you make the mistake again, where are you going to go next?
It's why I'm really excited because a lot of Gen Z is actually very conservative.
Yeah, I've noticed that actually, and I am loving it. Not because I'm conservative, don't be stupid. It's entirely because it always happens, generations flip. It always happens.
Oh, yeah. And I love the millennials who are like, I can't believe this. My child, like, I was not like them when I was young. I'm like, everybody says that. They're doing the same thing you did to your parents. The Christian conservative parents that you rebelled against are now your kids who are becoming Christian conservatives or, conservatives in general because they're against you.
So, quick fun fact. My parents were fairly apolitical, not really involved, but mostly a very progressive liberal type because they in the 80s and 90s supported gay marriage. They didn't really have an opinion on trans people because that wasn't really a thing, to be honest, then. But they supported those that are trans that were known then. They were they didn't care for marijuana, but they weren't against banning it or anything like that. So they were very, not necessarily progressive by the standard we set now, but progressive for the time. And I was raised in that environment, so I've always been fairly neutral because of them. Not anymore, but I'm just a right-wing nut job.
I mean, oh yeah,
allegedly.
Me too, I guess.
Yeah. Okay. Well, is there anything you'd like to promote before we finish?
No, not today.
No? Why not?
No, I haven't done shit.
Fair enough. Well, I guess we'll end. Is Trups about next week?
No.
Nor am I. I'm glad you said that first. I've got a friend coming over because I'm going to see Coheed and Cambria next Sunday.
Woohoo!
I know. I'm getting the train tickets on Monday. I'm looking forward to this.
All right,
it's gonna be a banger.
You got to tell me how they do because it's one of the bands that I'm curious.
I'll try and get some video of it.
Hell yeah!
I'll screen share in a server with you. Have a look.
All right, are you?
Now I keep forgetting the name from the Moistski Live channel. Thank you, Slapper. No, I have nothing to promote. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. This will be on Spotify on Sunday, if I remember. We won't be here next week. Sorry about that, but we're both away doing stuff. So we'll see you in 2 weeks' time. So say goodnight.